All right, everyone. This is our desktop software. We're going to go ahead and start off by working through the setup. Next, we'll take a look at adding a paid preparer. So anyone who prepares a return in your system will need to be entered as a paid preparer. So to start that process, I'm going to go ahead and enter a paid preparer ID, and that's just a number that you assign. It can be letters, numbers, it can be any scheme that you choose. But I'm going to go ahead and enter that information, and I'm going to click Add. We'll then be prompted to enter in some information from the preparer. All right, I'm going to go ahead and save this information. And now we have Sally entered as a preparer. So these are some places where you'll need to come to set up a few things, or you may need to come back here during the season as you add preparers to your office. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the other application setups, and we'll get into how we could add users to log in to tie in with those preparers we created in just a few more moments. First, we're going to take a look at the office setup. So you'll notice that a good bit of this information was already filled out. If you notice in your setup that incomplete returns, right here where it says transfer, incomplete returns is not checked, go ahead and check. That will allow us to have backup copies of your returns in the event something may happen to your data, unfortunate loss or something like that. Next, we'll go to the the e-filing tab, and we'll fill out our default EFIN. I'm just going to go ahead and place one of my fake EFINs in there. You would put your live EFIN in this field. The rest of this information doesn't really apply to you unless you notice it's something specific to your state. But otherwise, we're going to go ahead and click through. The Overrides tab is somewhat essential. If you need to, for whatever point during your season, appear or show up on your invoicing and documentation as you're doing business as a different company or something like that, this will override any of the information that shows up in the software for these particular fields. Site ID isn't something that will apply to any of you. You can leave that blank. Auto add state return is something that I want to bring your attention to. So right here, we have selected to auto add a state return on W2 for the W2. We can change that to a specific state, or we could have it to where it loads based off the client data screen, so the state they live in. More than likely, that's usually the state the W2 is from as well. Some chances that for different places that can be different. So you can change that customization as needed for that. Default taxpayer's phone number, I'm going to go ahead and select cell phone here. That's another pretty catch one that applies to most filing situations nowadays, guys. So these are your defaults. These are just a whole set of defaults, and if you need some things or if you call into support and we drive you here, we'll go over those with you as they're needed. This is where you can change your billing as well as some other path information. Most importantly, if you have different billing schemes, they will reside right here in this area, and that'll make a little bit more sense later on. All right, this is where you can set up your email. So I've gone ahead and skipped down to the text message and email tab. What you can do is you can put a Gmail address in. You can put your Gmail email address in and the password. And you can also, if you will, you can click this activate button on any computer that you use the software. That will allow you to be able to send emails to your customers. You can send them a copy of the return and other things such as that. So just be aware you have that functionality out here. All right, let's go ahead now and we're going to step down to the printer setup. We're going to be real quick in here, but we're going to go ahead and cover. This is where you could go ahead and assign your default printer for your tax return, checks, or reports. If you have a signature pad, whether it be Topaz or Scriptel, you could select those. I do not, so I'm using the on-screen signature method, as you can see here. If you have any issues or need to have some more things print out with your returns, you can always come look here, and this will give you an overview of what is being printed with the return when you click that print button. So as you can see here, our invoice, the federal return, and copies and things like that are being printed out for the client. All right. Here are our print options. Here, if you're having any issues, we'll drive you here just to allow you to make some of these changes as needed. If you have any concerns or issues, we'll kind of direct you out here to make any changes as needed. Same with the business printing here, though. If you're using business, this is what will print out for your customer, just as we were in the 1040 tab. All right, let's go ahead and go talk about our billing setup. So this is our billing scheme. I've already created a billing scheme out here. I had one come over from the prior year as well. But let's just go ahead and discuss what's going on out here as if you had not set it up. So this is your address. This can be your company name. It can have your phone number. It can have your email address. But these 4 lines are otherwise what is going to be presented at the top of your invoice when you print it out or deliver it in a PDF to your customer. So however you like that to be displayed for your company, these are the 4 lines that you get to do that with. All right. So a lot of folks do a flat fee or a flat rate. We have a lot of different ways to bill out here in our billing setup. You can bill by a flat rate for just the 1040, just a preparation fee for all your customers. You can itemize, so in conjunction with billing for preparing a 1040, you could bill for the individual forms if you want. You can bill for the line items. You can bill for pretty much anything that requires you to do some effort out here. So let's walk through how that works. In my example, I am billing in a few different ways. So if I start at 1040, I have $150 right here for that 1040. So we can see 1040 return. That is going to be $150. For any W-2s that are brought in, for the first 2 W-2s, I am charging $50. You can see that by the base price here. So we're right here on the line for W-2s. I have a base quantity of 2 and a base price of $50. So what that means is if someone brings in 1 or 2 W-2s, I'm charging $50. I also have a per item price. So for any amount over those first 2 W-2s, I will charge an additional $50 here. So that's to say if someone were to bring in 3 W-2s, it would be that base price of the $50 plus an additional $50 for that additional W-2 that's over the 2, and so on and so forth, guys. So 4 W-2s would then bill out at $150, 5 at $200. Now, this would be a little different if I just put in the per item. So if I didn't have a base quantity or a base price, every W-2 now that I prepare would be $50, and that's a little bit more standard. That's how folks who itemize generally bill out. But just be aware you do have some pretty granular control over how that works out here. As we go down, you'll see there's every form you could add to a return. I've got our education credits that I'm billing for in this one. We also have worksheets. So if you want to bill for individual worksheets, maybe you have to, maybe we're billing $150 for the recovery rebate if someone needed that filled out. You never know. However you want to work your charges and your itemizations out here, come look for the forms after you filled out a return and gotten used to what the names and what they're called in here, and work your billing out, guys. Before you do any of your returns, make sure you get out here and you set these different billing schemes up, or these different fields in your billing scheme up to how you want them. So again, we have form billing, we have worksheet billing, and line item billing. So these can all work independently of each other, can juncture with each other. You can have base quantity, base price. You can fill this out pretty much however you like. Just be aware of how we've covered how these base quantity and prices and per items, how that charging works together. You can put in discounts if you'd like. So there's quite a a few spaces here for your discounts. So if you perhaps have a family discount of say 25%, maybe you have a friend's discount and it's just a dollar amount. It's $15 to be exact. That's how we would fill that out. So feel free. You cannot have a percentage and a price together. Those kind of don't work in conjunction with each other. So it's either or here, and you'll have 6 spots for that. Custom charges are also allowed. We have a lot of different custom charges now. It used to be this was a little smaller. Maybe you do credit repair. And you have a custom ancillary product and disclosure and things that you take care of on your own. You could bill for that. They could get their bank product and have it approved and paid for with the proceeds from their refund, no out-of-pocket expense. Maybe you have a car lot and you process down payments for automobiles or something like that from their pro funds. It's completely up to you guys. There's a lot of different ways to work these custom charges and things if you have ancillary products or if you have partnerships with other businesses or seeking partnerships. This is a great way to get other revenue and tie into other businesses. This is our add-ons. If you notice that you've got these set to automatically add and you do not want them to automatically add to your returns, you can go ahead and uncheck those right here. These are our Audit Assistance and Protection Plus plans. These are some products that come with your software that you can offer to your customers. You also are allowed to mark these up, and you capture 100% of that revenue from any markup you add on. Add these to your returns, guys. Any that you go through and take a look and do some demo returns, take a look at disclosures. See what these products do. See what they offer for the 3 years that they offer their protection for your customers for any audits or anything that they may incur from the IRS. But that is it pretty much for the billing out here. What we're going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and click Save As. I'm going to give this billing scheme a name, and I'm going to click OK. You'll now see that the billing scheme says 2022. If this was the first time setting your billing scheme up, you would be prompted to make it your default billing. You go ahead and select Yes there. Otherwise, if you were recreating your billing, updating, or doing anything else to it, you'd want to click OK on this menu, and we're going to go right back real quick into our application settings. We're going to take a look at our General tab right here at the top, guys, and we're going to take a look at this 1040 billing. If you'll notice, it's not the billing that I just created, so I'm going to go ahead and select that, and I'm going to click OK. So that is how you can both create and update your billing. Next, let's go ahead and take a look at one more critical thing out here in this section, and that is going to be your wallet setup, guys. So the wallet is going to be essential for different things that you might need to do, whether it's the remote signatures or other pieces of our integrations that tie in out here that incur a charge. But it's as simple as clicking the button on the wallet setup, letting the page load, accepting the terms up here at the top, and then adding your credit card. So you will need to add a credit card. My email address is out of date, but guys, this is very straightforward. You click Add a New Credit Card, and once that credit card is added, it's just, you put in your numbers in the CSV and everything. You can then reload your balance and set intervals. This is required for our remote signatures and other integrations. So that is something you can also capture back from your customers. We'll speak to that a little later in another demo, though. I'm going to go ahead and close this window, and I'll go back to our work in progress screen. Our next topic, though, is going to be our TaxPass. So if you are wanting to use our TaxPass app, the mobile app, to get returns submitted from taxpayers wherever they may be in the world, all you'll need to do is reach out to us. Anyone who has previously used the app, your QR codes and your app is automatically updated to the next year. It's a seamless transition. You can use the same marketing materials or the same QR code in new marketing materials. However, anyone who is new to us, please feel free to reach out to your sales rep or anyone else here at the Taxshield team, and we'll be happy to go ahead and get that QR code created and delivered for you to use in any of your marketing for your customers. That being said, once your customers have your handy dandy QR code, you can come out here to the TaxPass mobile app retrieval, And actually, let's go back to the work in progress just so you can see exactly where that is. And that's going to be right here. I'm just going to go ahead and click on this line. This is where I would then be able to see any new clients that have been submitted to me. I unfortunately do not have any in this software, but if you did, you would be able to highlight that customer, click OK, and it would pull that customer into your software just as you had started that return in your software already. Super seamless. We also will be able to co-brand some of the stuff for you at a future date. So be sure to go ahead and get us your logos and reach out to us either via call or via email and let us know if you're interested in that. You also have a two-way communication for TaxPass. So that's right here at the very bottom on the left-hand side of the screen. This is where you'll be able to see any messages or communications from your TaxPass mobile app submissions, rather from the taxpayers who've submitted those returns to you. So if they have any questions, if you have any questions and maybe need additional documentation or any issues that you may need to take care of the return, you have a place for that conversation to take place right here and tie it to that return and that data. All right. So moving right along, while we have not covered returns, let's talk about what would happen if you needed to pay a customer since we're out here. Right here in our printing queue, we have checks, registers, and activations. This is where you can activate your check stock, print test checks to ensure that your printer's working correctly, your check stock's oriented correctly, and all the other things that come along with those kind of printed disbursements, as well as look through your checks, print them, look at printed checks, the amounts, anything you need to do really with those checks that have come for your customers for their returns. So if you had a check to print, you would simply select that check or that batch of checks and click Print Checks right here in the corner. Again, since I have none to print, I don't have that ability. Please, for your first time when you come out here to print a check, or if you do not see your check, please don't worry. You may need to select your bank from this drop-down list. So just be aware if that is a thing, guys. So if you see that select a bank right there, so we'll go ahead and drop it down to Republic, and if I had any Republic checks, I would be able to see them then and there. And that election should stick, but if it doesn't, just be aware that there is a selection here for those check printed banks that come to the software. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close this screen now. All right, now this next section won't apply to everyone, but it is Management Dashboard. So what is Management Dashboard? It is an election right here that's not in everybody's software for our multi-office owners, our service bureaus, and otherwise anyone who has more than one office in their setup and they are in the software that is at the top of that hierarchy. You will have this election in your software to view your Management Dashboard. And this is just a collection of reports that are all consolidated and run concurrently daily after every transmission. What I can do here, though, is I can select from any of these different dashboard types. So maybe if I wanted to see my bank totals and things like that, I could go here to my financial totals, and I could get a breakdown then. If I had multiple users in this group, they would appear here, my prepares, so on and so forth. This is huge. If you have any questions about it, feel free to reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to walk through whatever you're looking for in Management Dashboard. All right. Software updates, guys. As we're going down this list, I've hit on a lot of things that are super important, but this one right here is a make or break kind of scenario sometimes. Some software updates come out at a critical moment when tax laws are being adjusted in the beginnings of the seasons, and we desperately need those to stay as up to date as possible to ensure returns are submitted to the IRS in an accurate manner. So what does that mean? It means anytime you're transmitting to the IRS or transmitting to our central site and picking up software updates, they will appear right here on this line. So where we see under other items, we see software updates. I have 150 waiting for me right here. All I would need to do is click on software updates and then click apply all, and it would apply all of my software updates that I need. For anyone who has multiple machines in the office, you have a network install, multiple computers use the software, What I'm saying is super important. Please, before you apply your updates, ensure that everyone's logged out of the software and all the software is closed except on the machine that you're using to update with. This will save you headache and a call into support when you're probably in the busy part of the season. So instead of clicking apply all and restarting my software, I'm going to close this window, but be sure you apply your software updates as often as you get them and make sure to follow the rule of closing any of the workstations when you do apply them on a network install.